Hello and welcome to the SpaceChem Tournament 2025, Round 7, XBPG Chem, or as I said in the round description, it's actually spelled explosion. Not really. XBPG Chem, the forbidden. Wait, what city is it? The Forbidden Space. Because why not? It's a collaboration between XBPGH and SpaceChem, obviously. XBPGH, The Forbidden Path. It's a sub-game in Last Call BBS. And it's basically a programming games where you need to make flesh constructs. This level, for example, you need to create a sort of mouth with muscles encompassing bones. And you do it by starting with a seed that can spread and evolve to muscle, or evolve to bones, or evolve to skin. And using a set order of commands, everything turns into the final output. Now, XBPGH has a theme of flesh monstrosities, of building and creating flesh stuff, so this level background is particularly fitting. And in it you have all your functions that you do are one at a time. So in this puzzle, all of the reactors only have one output, which forces you to bring the inputs to the output, do it in a row, in a link, like a linked list, sort of. Anyway, let's look at the solutions. No, first the puzzle itself. The puzzle was creating something. Maybe it's a mouth. CR here stands for bone, and CL stands for muscle. And you get it by starting with a seed, which is carbon in this case. To get a muscle, you add the essence of flesh, and then essence of muscle. To get a bone, you add essence of bone to a seed. That's basically like in the game XBPGH itself, where you take a seed and evolve it. Let's look at the solutions. First is Astronelson with mouth dreams. Astronelson did everything with 5 reactors. By the way, the metric here was symbols, so his metric is 125. Now the order to look at them is pretty obvious, because there is only one order. So first, Astronelson takes the seed and creates 4 pairs linked together to it, which later it doesn't really add up. Why? Let's because they need to be fused into, of course. 4 atoms get fused by the essence of flesh, so now we have seed and flesh, and then another one because the final output needs 5 atoms on the outside and 3 on the inside. Where are we? Here. Yep. Second time around in this reactor, it does the same, but outputs, but has the flash in the right side instead of in the left side. Now this reactor just adds the essence of muscle to the flesh and outputs it. Very simple. One reactor does the work, one reactor does a fuse hammer, which is a very neat way to save symbols if anyone hasn't seen it already. Then it's just a matter of having 3 atoms, adding the argon to it. It looks like they were a bit annoyed that the input is in the second row and not the first row, which had a lot of symbols here. And pretty much that's it. Last reactor is just a single line to bond and output. Pretty simple. This is the, you could say, naive approach of doing it by solving the solution by the books, only doing something as it was intended, sort of. But doing stuff as intended is not very optimized. Next up, we have rezoons with 77 symbols and 4 reactors. Rezoons fuses up to 24. Reasons, you have an extra symbol here. Okay, fusing up to 24, which is a lot simpler than taking 6 plus 18. Or actually, maybe it's not simpler, but honestly, yeah, just having something like this would have been probably less symbols. Doesn't matter. Here rezoons creates 17 out of pure hydrogen. Here you can see that the sensor is pretty crucial. Sensing in XBPGH is only done to sense other stuff next to the stuff you evolve, so it's different from SpaceChem, but still every reactor has a sensor. All this reactor does is creates a U-shape. It's a bit slow because it's building up from hydrogen. thing and you miss it. It does 4 inputs in a row and then 3 again and again twice. Or not just once, it does the 3. And then here again. There are more efficient ways. There's an extra arrow here. Yeah. And here. No, not here. Yeah, it's not an extra arrow. Where did you see an extra arrow? Never mind. Either way, it's creating a stick of 4, then adding 3 using the same logic, and then another extra 3. Then it's just a matter of adding inputting and then bonding directly. Having the blue here to in a line means that you can save a bond. Pretty simple. Much fewer symbols. Let's remove the pause here. "77 symbols. Next up is largest common denominator, which are Lazy Comet and Dariush. With the solution, we did this at the last minute. With 3 reactors, the first reactor is a much more compact way to create 24. In fact, this is 10 symbols, only 10 symbols, compared to rezoons did it in 13 symbols. And an even simpler way of creating 17 by having blue weight on the sensor and then outputting when it sees 17, while red drops it for 2 cycles. This is only 9 symbols. Now I wonder, why couldn't they do the same thing here? What's stopping you from doing the exact same reactor here? Probably timing. You need to. The output needs. No, the output needs to be stalled here. The hydrogen is a lot faster than the carbon here. So after a while, red stalls on output. Let's see here. Red stalls on output. Combining these two in a single reactor probably saves some symbols. Let's put a pause here. No, not a good place for a pause. Or actually maybe it is. Sure. So here, instead of doing 4 inputs for where's the input? Here's the input symbol. Instead, there's a sort of counter here. It's a not even a counter. It's just a simple loop, and then a chlorine sensor with making the turns, the edges with a blind grab here. And red after 4 adds the 24 ohms, which is it has enough time because blue is pretty slow. This is pretty much the same process between these two, except the first time blue goes in the upper corner in this direction and drops it here, and the second time it's dropped two cells to the left. And all red does is add some carbon. Blue also adds one, because red stops when this is not over the sensor. Yeah. Pretty well done. I'd say let's let it run for a few outputs, but it's pretty slow at getting the chlorium, and doing it any faster you don't see anything. That was 59 symbols. Next up is faefeyfa. Is this your first tournament submission? With your solution, only 2 reactors with building anything everything from hydrogen. First, we have red on a loop, a very tight loop, creating 17. Creating 17. Three times, 4 times, 5 times. Wait, let's count. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then hitting the sink. And then blue is on a tight loop, creating 24. This is, let's add a pause here. 1, 2, 3, only 3. 5 to 3 is the ratio. Makes sense because the final ratio is 5 to 3. Skipped a bit. So the main symbols Hogger here is the counters. Red has a 5 counter using 3 flip-flops, with the second flip-flop being hit afterwards again to make it only 5 instead of 8. Blue has just 3 counter. Okay. faefeyfa says that red alternates between 4 and 6 after the first group of 5. Yeah, that's what this flip-flop does. Okay. So let's see how it's being assembled. Let's put a pause here. Remove the pause from here. So, standard stick approach with blue hammering red and hammering bond and red just stalling on input. Then the same again. Doing 17, then 24, 24, 24 up to here. Then dropping, doing the same thing again, but this time because there are because it alternates between 4 and 6 here, the order of the atoms actually determines the final product here. So if you do first 5, then 3, then you do 4, 3, 6, 3, 4, 3, 6, this with this 5, 3. Yeah, that will do it. You don't have to have a special handling for the right and left side of the mouth. All you need is just to output the atoms in the right order. Let's watch the end again. Second time it's rotated, dropped on the bond, and outputted. Pretty clever way of determining the symmetry with the way the atoms are outputted. Let's watch it run a bit. No, let's run to the end without the pause. One of the things in the metric was that each reactor counted as 25 symbols. So even though it's more symbols, this is better than the previous solution. Next up is spiritual shampoo with no name. What is going on here? Blue is waiting on 17, and then it steals the atom and drops it. Then it's waiting on 16, so that it'll have enough time to go here and steal the atom again and drop it. Wait, that's just in time. Then it's waiting on 15. Let's put it here. Again 17. Now it's waiting on, what's phi? Phi is 23, of course. So it's after this. It's waiting on 23. Basically, what blue does is, actually blue decides the same thing about dropping 24 and 17 in the correct order so that it can be assembled later. The correct order here is 17, then from here, wait, let's move this. 17 waiting down here, and then 17 again. Wait, 17 waiting down here, 17 again, waiting here this time. It's 15 because it goes right and then left. Waiting on 23. So 17 3 times, 24, 17, 24, 17, 24, 17, 24, 17, 24. And then 17 again 3 times. So basically alternating 17 and 24, except at the beginning where there's one of the 24 instead of 17. Now all these flip-flops are just the arrow on J5 seems unnecessary. I'm not sure because this flip-flop goes up. I don't think it's unnecessary. Let's look if I remove this flip-flop. Does it crash? Wait. Pause. No, it is unnecessary. YellowBunny said so in the comments and they are right. Okay, so how exactly this counter works is too complicated to understand in a minute, but it's 3 times 17 and then alternating 24, 17 for the rest of the 16 atoms. Now, how do they assemble it? Wait. This takes a bit of waiting for the inputs so that when... Ah, wait a minute. It's an input every... Let's look. Every 170 seconds. So I can do it approximately by hand. Wait. First going down. Yeah, missed it. Basically, it's creating a square. It's rotating once to bond in this direction, and then again to bond in this direction. So instead of doing it row by row, it's pair by pair, which means that you'd need 17, then 24, 17, 24, 17, 24, 17. And then once it reaches 8 atoms, let's see what it does. It reaches the sensor and blue starts working. All blue does is takes everything away. And then once there's another one of these prepared with the right symmetry thanks to the counters in the previous reactor, blue with some jiggling manages to bond and output. Okay, nice. Nicely done. Let's watch it at higher speed. And then the end again. Red goes on a bit of a delay line here, and to bond as well. No, it's just to bond. Red doesn't need to delay at all. Ah, because blue can't bond here because it rotates. Yep. 2 reactors solution. Let's remove the pause that I put here. This timing, I have to say, this timing is incredible. It's only 29 symbols. And wow, I think it counts to 16 with 3. It counts to 16 with 11 and with 10 and 6 split. Okay. Next up, in 5th place, is DariusOne with slower is better. Slower equals better. Same approach of fusing everything from hydrogen. With a very similar way of red creating the atom and blue just handling the timing to see when it's 24 and when it's 17. So at first, blue waits for 17, then let's see, this counter is 2, 4, and then wait, hold on. First time it goes here, second time this is a bit slow, as the title suggests. Second time it goes up as well. So 3 times it's 17. And then 24 again. And then 24, not again, sorry. Let's do it like this. It's 17 once, twice, 3 times before here, 4 times, 5 times. Really? This is once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Okay, it was 4 times, and then it goes to the 24. 24 it does. Once, twice. Comes here and does it. Ah. Three times. Okay. 3 times and then goes back to the 17. The timing for that, let's do it like this. So, no, not here, just, okay. So, 17, 17, 17, 17, 24, 24, 24, 17, 17, 17, 17, 24, 24, 24, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 24, 24, 24. So it's pretty much the same with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's pretty much the same with starting with 5 and then doing 6, 4, 6, 4. So it's the same as faefeyfa. Let's look at the second reactor. Blue is hammering bond plus. Red creates the sticks and bonds to them in a very similar way that we've seen. But the second time the main symbol saver here is that it's dropped very close to the bonders, so taking the second output afterwards is very fast or very symbol efficient. Just go down, grab, and then drop. Yep. Let's watch it again. Again, most of the work here is done by the fact that the previous reactor handles the timing, and this reactor just creates pairs of 17 and 24 and bonds them. This is 28 symbols compared to faefeyfa's how much was it? 29. So in this first reactor it's one symbol less, and in this reactor it's a lot of symbols less. turn it to completion. $250,000 cycles. Next up is anningmay with 2 reactors split with 20 and 31. Only 51 symbols. Now this is the same approach of having the first reactor decide about when to output 17 and when to output 24. The timing here, first of all, blue is a lot simpler. It's just a matter of after every 24 there's always 17, thanks to this setup. After every 24 it gets stuck here. So it just means that after 6 24s, or after 4 24s, it goes on this counter up here, which makes it so that there's 17 in the first time it's once, twice, and then later it's (24, 17, 24, 17). Let's put it on pause here. Second time it does Lee. Why is it? It doesn't matter the timing here. It's just so that it can do the loop again. There's a sensor here because if there was a flip-flop or an arrow, then it would have been triggered by the 24 sensor going right. Very clever. Very clever way of doing this part. Should be 6 times. And then wait. Should be 6 times, but it counts to 8. How does it do it? First time it does 17 twice, and then 24. 3 times, and then 4th times it goes ahead. Okay. So this is basically 6 because it's 3 times out of the 4 does 24, and then here it's 4 17ths, with the first time being only 2. The output, let's first watch it first. It's done also by pairs. With red, let's put pause here. With red each time doing a pair and then bringing what was ready beforehand on top of the bonder. Now when it reaches this blind grab, it's just dropped here and then continues again. Second time it's grabbed and dropped here. It's dropped here so that blue can sense the left corner. Let's get to it. And then when it reaches 24, red goes up and reuses. That's the trick. It reuses this drop and bond here to bond the final output. Very clever reuse of this path of the logic to save symbols. Let's remove the pauses and watch it fast again. Also pretty slow solution. Next up is Team Science with Team Science is Rexkix, gggol and Britboy. Team Science also had a clever way of doing the timing to same approach, doing the timing of dropping either 17 or 24. They decided to do it like this though, so that they can have the output in the bottom corner. Otherwise, if it was from the upper input, then this part would have been 2 cycles longer. The timing here is also after every 24 there is 17. And pretty much exactly the same timing of doing at first, where's the start? Doing 17 at the start. then 24, 24, 17, 24, 17, and this counts to wait, no, it's not the same. This counter does this is 4 plus times this is a 6 counter, so it counts this part up to 10 atoms. No, this doesn't make sense. Let's do a little trick. Pause. It starts with 17 and then 24. I've messed the timing. Never mind. Let's put pause here. So 17, 24, 17, 24, 17, 24. This is 3 times, and then how did I miss once? I just paused because this goes up once. So it does 17 3 times. Okay, so this counter does 17 3 times, and then this is, it's basically the same number. Let's have a look here at what their output is. They do 3 pairs of 1724 and then 4 17 and then again 1724. Okay, so here this is a bit more compact. Red, instead of creating a stick by having 3 inputs, the red does only not only a blind grab, it's once from the left and once from the right. Why? Let's return the pauses here, I guess, to have it. again because it does pairs. So once it rotates left and once it rotates right. This is a very clever and compact way to do it with a single self-crossing loop to save on a symbol on the bond here. Then when it reaches the sensor here, it goes up and drops it, and the blue waits with it. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This drop here is precisely on the bonder, so that the 17 in the corner will bond to it easily, and all blue needs to do is a simple loop of grabbing, moving it away, and then bonding. Very nice. This starting reactor is 28 as well. I think anningmay did it in 20, but the second reactor was a lot more complicated. So here they did it, the first reactor more complicated, but the second reactor saved a lot of symbols. Let's let it run a bit. Okay. This is pretty slow. With 251,000 cycles, which is slower. It is slower by 5 cycles from DariusOne, so it is the slowest solution. This is Team Science. Yeah, 23. Okay. Yeah, I counted the pauses. Oops. Next up, in second place, is Team Combustible Lemons, which are brookieoz, YellowBunny, and bigmangohead. With their solution, different approach. They say it's a different approach, but it's a very similar approach to what other people did. It's a different approach from their first approaches. This is practically the same reactor setup, pretty much exactly as the Team Science, except that they have it red in a line here instead of dropping everything in a corner, which saves 2 symbols on red. But yeah, this and this, not exactly the same setup. Here they have, instead of having the flip-flop like this and another symbol wasted on an arrow, they had the flip-flops arranged like that, which is, this reactor is 21 symbols, so still we've seen better. No, wait, if this is 21 symbols and Team Science's first reactor is 23 symbols, but red has a band, so I don't see what else they've had. They have 4 outputs, while Team Science only has 3. Okay, so whatever they saved by putting the flip-flop here instead, it cost them another output. Except for that, it's the same thing, and I think the same order in the output. Let's look at it first. Not exactly the same order. They do first the 317 and then 2417, 2417, 2417, and then again this. Now this looks very clean, with red being a rectangle and blue also being almost a rectangle. Red waits on 217. Let's do something like this. Now this is a clever way to do the teeth here. Very simple, efficient way to do it, by blue being in a rectangle and every second time it goes right. Actually, I think it's basically the same way we've seen for Team Science, except they did it on the side and with the sensor going outwards and then back like this. So once they touch this sensor, wait, when did they touch it first? look. Ah, the first time they ignore it. Probably they couldn't put it here because of this sensor. Second time. Second time they reach this sensor here. No. Every time they reach this sensor here to drop it here. And then red grabs. Why do they reach it in the first time but not the second time? The second time but not the first time? Ah, they reach it the second time. Okay. Okay, yeah. This is pretty simple to follow. After creating the teeth and dropping it on the bonder, red bonds and drops it. Okay. Let's watch it faster. You can see that pretty much all the top solutions went for the same approach, so it just became a difference of a few symbols of who could optimize each reactor to do the same thing but with less symbols. And let it run. And in first place we have ToughThought with red stripes. ToughThought has the exact same approach to the first reactor, except it's one symbol more. That's, oh, sorry, 21 symbols. So no, it's the exact same number of symbols. They had, instead of two flip-flops like here, they have an arrow here. So yeah, counting to 4 could either be like this or like this. Doesn't matter. This is the exact same first reactor. The second reactor is where the magic is done. Let's put pause here. This is again rotating first left and then right in pairs. Blue then takes this saves a single symbol by having it wait with just one sensor instead of the two that Team Combustible Lemons had. By putting the sensor, having it on 24 instead of 17. No, it's on, the sensor is on 17, but on this corner. And then a flip-flop here for delay so that red can reach here on time to be bonded. Okay, so the save here is red is only a rectangle and doesn't have no, it's not only a rectangle, it does need to go one cell upwards to drop the molecule. So where's the save? The bond plus, the bond plus is reused here more. Compared to Team Combustible Lemons that had bond plus on both folders. ToughThought uses the bond at the end twice, thanks to special timing and grab and drop on the same cell by blue. Blue grabs when red drops the atom, blue grabs it and then drops it in the same place. That's clever. And blue only needs one rotate. Oh. Thanks to it also saves a rotate by reusing this right rotate from the usual path. Very well done, ToughThought. Let's remove the pause. Now, ToughThought didn't have the most optimized first reactor, but the second reactor made up for it with 2 symbols less than the best other reactor. So a total of 48 symbols. Well done. The fused reactors is anningmay with 20. This is very clever. Okay, so let's look at the fun solution by Team Combustible Lemons. Single wall door with 69 symbols, which is pretty competitive. Oh boy. This is... Oof. How much does this count to? $16 different cases. Yeah, okay. I guess. Yeah, this small loop is the simple part, and then once it reaches here, it starts getting complicated with first outputting and then going up again so that it becomes 24. And then going up again here. But then going left. This is... I'd need an hour to properly understand when exactly what happens. But very nice that you've managed to do it with a single wall door, and I like the fact that it's a square. Pretty square solution. This part is also pretty... This is pretty optimized for a single wall door. This is just 27 symbols. Compared to, say, the regular solution by Team Combustible Lemons that was 28. Wait, what? 28 symbols and then single wall door. Because of the order, this is 10 times CL and then 6 times CR. So it makes the second reactor easier. Yeah, creating a U shape from just U shape takes less symbols, and when you sense that you have a U shape, let's do pause here. Can't do a pause here. That's a shame. Let's cheat a bit and do a pause here. No, wait, I meant like this. So when it senses that it has a U shape, it goes left each time. Ah, it feels everything. Oh, this is very clever. Very good placement of the sensor. Okay. Single order solution. We also have another fun solution by Team Combustible Lemons, an honorary fun solution because it wasn't submitted through the tournament bot, which is YB106, which is their first approach, which is 51 symbols. So this is very similar, the same approach of outputting oh no, this outputs 10 and then 6, like the single Waldo solution. So basically the same second reactor, except hammering output to save a cycle. And the first reactor takes 25 symbols. So it wasn't worth it doing 10 and then 6. It's too many flip-flops. YellowBunny says that the second reactor has 2 symbols fewer because the input is in a more convenient position. Yeah, it being in a corner is more convenient. Though we could have saved some cycles by having the input be to the lower half and then no, it's the same amount of cycles. Going from the second down is the same as going. The only difference is that this would have been like this. So it would have saved 1 cycle. Sure. Okay. That's it for this round solutions. And I'll see you next week for round 8. Wait, what did you just post, gggol? A totally different first reactor. Let's have a look at another unofficial fun solution. Which uses both hydrogen and what's its name? Neon, right. This first reactor is 28 symbols. Yeah, so it wasn't worth it. Okay, so it makes use of the fact that 10 plus 7 is 17 plus 7 is 24, so we can add 7 and then every few times you add another 7. So if there wasn't a sensor here, it would have helped, though you use the sensor anyway, so it's just wasting more symbols on flip-flops. Yeah. But the output, the second reactor is the same. Okay. It's much faster though. Makes sense. Yeah. So now it's really it for this one. So for this week's solution. See you guys next week.